Hey guys, before I begin today's video, I would just like to mention real quick that I finally have a set in stone live streaming schedule. Every weekend, rather it be a Saturday or a Sunday, I'm going to start live streaming something on the channel. My life is really inconsistent schedule-wise. Some days I'm doing nothing, and some days I'm doing everything at the same time. So I really want to have a live streaming schedule, or just a schedule in general, but I haven't ever really been able to. But hopefully this new schedule is flexible enough and not too stressful, and I'll actually be able to hold on to it this time and not have an update video where I change it. But anyways, expect to stream every Saturday and Sunday, not at a specific time, just, within one of those days. And I'll let you guys go ahead and watch the video. Peace. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Before I begin this video, I just want to thank you guys again so much for 300 subscribers. I know it sounds cliche, and every YouTuber says it, and I know I sound like a broken record, but I 100% really never thought the channel would get to where it is now. I thought I'd maybe record a few videos, not see immediate growth, and just give up like I've done so many times before, but I kept trying my hardest, and I didn't give up, and now here we are nearly a year and a half later, and I went from recording games on a Xbox 360 with my crappy Android phone in my living room to have my own recording space and like a PlayStation 4, and honestly, you guys are really who I have to thank. If you guys hadn't been watching my videos and liking them and commenting on them and just supporting me all the way, then I probably would have given up many moons ago and just stopped making videos altogether. Anyways, enough being sappy. The reason I'm making this video, obviously, is to tell you guys my life story. Well, life story, I say. I'm only 15 years young, lad, so hopefully I have a bit more kick in me. But seriously, I just want to get this video out so that, you can all know me a little bit better, and so that any of you new subs will feel more comfortable here. But, just, if you have any questions, hopefully they get answered in this video. But yeah, I was born in 2002 in northern Utah, and I lived up there until I was about 10 years old. While I lived there, I didn't really have too many friends, so like any other lonely boy, I started playing video games. My first ever console I owned was a PlayStation 2, but some of the first games I ever really played were Frogger for the GameCube, and Guitar Hero 3 and Rock Band for the 360. I started to become unreasonably attached to my games and consoles, and I became a pretty big fan of the gaming industry at a really young age. Playing Frogger with my brother and slowly learning how to properly play Guitar Hero with my dad are still some of my most fondest memories of my childhood. Speaking of my dad, however, when I was around the age of, I want to say 6 years old, he moved down to Texas for some personal reasons I'd rather not discuss, so for a little bit of my life, I kind of grew up without a dad. One day, though, in 2013, my mom took me and my little brother to my grandfather's house, and later on that day, a very familiar man came to visit, and sure enough, it was my dad. And the next morning, a bunch of my family and I went to Idaho to spend a few days camping. And after about like 2 to 3, maybe 4 days of camping in southern Idaho, we came back down to Utah, and this is when my mom informed me that we were going to move to Texas to live with my father. Sure enough, later that day, my mom, my dad, my brother, and I all piled up into my mom's tiny 1998 Dodge Blazer and headed down to Texas. The car ride that should have taken us 22 hours took us more like 35 because for some reason the truck decided to become more picky than a spoiled valley girl and would break down every 50 to 60 miles. And keep in mind, the distance between my home in Utah and my current home in Texas are 1,200 miles away from each other. But we finally made it down to Texas, and I met a ton of family I never even knew I had. I met my sister, some of my cousins. The list of family I met just goes on, and I grew pretty close to all of them. And later on that year, I started my 5th grade year in an entirely new school. I made some friends, 90% of which I don't even talk to anymore, and the rest of the year was just really uneventful. 2014, though, was one of the most difficult years of my life. This year, I entered middle school, so, there was plenty of bullying, awkward teenage angst, and an overall sense of, holy cow, I just really don't want to be here right now. This is also the year that my dad's work entered a sort of financial depression, so there are also some setbacks at home as well. This, alongside being in middle school, alongside finally having a sense of homesickness kick in, made me taste my first ever sample of depression. And it really sucked. I was still young, so I didn't really know why I was so tired all the time, and why all of a sudden I hated to do anything, and why I'd rather stay home watching TV than going out and hang out with friends. And since I had a mere handful of friends and my closest family members were still all living in Utah, I had to find something to turn to help me pick up myself every now and then. I did stuff like watching Dinkle weeb shit like Naruto and Inuyasha, and I also became more active in school activities like choir and art, but those things really weren't too helpful. But one day I found this guy named PewDiePie on this website called YouTube, and I started watching his videos a lot. Then later on I found people like Jacksepticeye and Matthew Santoro, and the list really just keeps going on and on. And before I knew it, I amassed a decent handful of people I started to consistently watch every day. I would watch these people throughout middle school, and I still watch most of them to this day in high school. And if I'm being 100% honest, if I hadn't found all these people and personalities on YouTube, I probably wouldn't be here today. And because of how much YouTube helped me out in like my personal life, I really wanted to give back to those who helped me, like, you know, the content creators. And I knew I couldn't really give back to every YouTuber I've been watching, so instead I just decided to make a channel to supply YouTube with some more content for people to enjoy. I don't even know how many channels I've made prior to this one, to be honest. My first ever YouTube channel was one where I made anime top 10s, but eventually I made MinniSpuddd, and here we are today. I still deal with depression and anxiety and whatever, but now I have an amazing handful of friends, a supportive family, and a beautiful girlfriend I plan on making my wife one day. I also have all of you beautiful people who support me every single day and who keep me going, and just thank you all so much for everything you've done, and thank you all so much for 300 subscribers. I'm gonna let you guys go, stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next video.